Good afternoon. I am going to keep you guys awake. But first of all, before you fall asleep, even before I begin, jump up. This is what I need to do. Jump up, jump up. Raise your arms up to the sky. Bring them down. Reach them way out. Bring them behind the head. Give yourself a big hug. For being here, for taking a chance, for investing in yourself, for investing in your future, for investing in your legacy and the people you lead, so you're going to make a difference for. So jump up and down a couple times. Oh, really? We just say mark, right? And so, have a seat. I'm going to start by sharing my why story. That's what we call it, a why story. You heard a little bit about the fact that at 24 I was managing Capitol Mall, and I loved it. It was wild and crazy, and it was such a big responsibility, but I was ready for it. And, you know, IQ can get you really great jobs, but EQ, emotional quotient, will take you to where you really want to go, to the dreams that you have. And so that was a great job. I loved it. I wasn't looking for anything else, but it was super stressful. It took a toll on my health in just 2.5 short years, you can imagine, because I'm HSP. I'm going to talk a little bit about that towards the end. But being HSP just means that I'm neurodivergent and I have a superpower. Highly sensitive people, maybe you are one of them, or you're raising one, or you're married to one, or you work with one, or one could be your boss. So that being said, in 1986, I got introduced to Mary Kay. I should have been introduced to Mary Kay because I did not wear makeup. I didn't plan to, ever in my life. That changed a little bit because while we make our plans, God takes care of all the rest, and it never ends up where you want it to be. I am nowhere that I had planned to be on my dream board when I was in college. After college, I am nowhere until I started making vision boards. And I literally, the other day I said, oh my gosh, I'm just walking out to my garden. And I just walked into my vision board because I put this beautiful gazebo with curtains and lighting and all of these things on my vision board a few years ago. And it's there. And so it's really fun what you can do when you decide to honor who you are. And that's what I did. I heard about Mary Kay, and I said, oh gosh, I could do this and pay my student loan $750 off. I like to say that just for shock value. And I'm serious, it was $750. I worked all through college, but you know, I came from a family that didn't have a lot of money, and so I had to do that. I had to work and get my college education, and I had a $750 loan that just ate at me. And so I told my recruiter, I said, hey, I'll do this for 8 months, and then I'm out, because I'm highly educated. I'm highly out. Because clearly this is not for educated people. So I started. 7 months later, I earned my first car. I've been driving free ever since, quite accidentally, because it wasn't about makeup. It was about loving people, and I do that so well. So now that you know a little bit about that, I was born in Plenty but raised in Anaconda, so I'm a Montana girl. I spent 90 days backpacking through Europe and realized in all going to Paris and London and Dublin and all those places, planning to come back home and fly to New York City and get a corporate job in the city. Can you imagine an HSP in New York City? That would not work. So in being in those big cities, I decided to fall in love with Montana again. Kind of. So yes, I fell in love with Montana, and I haven't left since. So being in Helena for the last 42 years, it's really fun to see all of you. Many of you I've never seen before, or maybe I saw you somewhere and I'll say, oh my gosh, you look familiar where you work. But I was telling Lisa, who was sitting next to me, that this has been my year of joy. The journey of yes. the journey of yes. I encourage all of you, after what we've all encountered in these last 5 years, and we've forgotten some people, and we've isolated a little bit, especially if you're an introvert like me. Oh my goodness, and I could run my whole life out of my castle. I don't have to go anywhere, and I didn't. And so this last year, it started about last June, July, August, I decided if someone invited me to something, I had to say yes. And I did. I have had so much fun. Like in 1 year, I had more fun in a year than I have had in the last 10. Because I can have a ton of fun in my own business with my own friends in my own home. And then I started French Friday lunches. And so I just call people that I never get to have lunch with, never get to talk to, never visit with. And I say, hey, do you want to go to French Friday lunch? And they're like, where is it? And I'm like, well, it's you and me. Like, you're bringing them somewhere really cool. No, it's you and me. And so I've been doing that and going and just, taking people to lunch at various places in the community and just supporting our community. So those are just a few things that I wanted to share with you. I'll probably throw some more things in. I have notes only because, as you can tell, I get sidetracked. I like bright, shiny things, and who knows what I could end up saying. And so I just want to share about emotional mastery. And emotional mastery became really important to me before I understood that not everybody was like me, like not everybody felt deeply when the moon shine a certain way. People weren't out taking pictures of the caterpillar crawling across the sidewalk like I do. And people did remember their whole entire life, every single day of it, like HSPs do. And so I started noticing these things. But I'm going to talk about that in a little bit, so I'm not going to get sidetracked on it. But I'm going to talk about emotional mastery, because when you have a life planned and you end up in a completely different place, I mean, married, 10 kids, goal, forever, ever, ever, ever. Married, 10 kids. Don't have a husband anymore, don't have kids anymore, okay? Things happen in life, and you don't always get your way. And when you don't get your way, it's really good to find joy as fast as you can again. Because there's nothing I hate worse than sobbing and crying and feeling sorry for myself. I hate that. It's not fun. So that's why I encountered the study of emotional mastery. So, okay, 40 years I have worked with a volunteer army of women I lead who can lead without a word. And yes, there have been many awards and mountaintops. And yes, I live a charmed life zipping around in my pink Cadillac. That's what people think. They think I'm a pink Cadillac. No, not at all. I am not a pink Cadillac. I just drive one. And the thing about it is, like, you all have these high moments where people recognize you for something. For Tosh, it's the military. For Kylene, it's leadership. I see people in here, you're recognized for something, but that isn't who you are. Life isn't made of mountaintop moments. It's the seemingly insignificant moments in every single day that make for a magical life. It's making decisions according to the things I'd put on a goal poster, saying yes when I wanted to say no, and listening to the whisper that says, you should call her. What if she says no? Then call someone else. And that is how I built my business. 40 years of this, and I still fly out of bed every day to do what I do. I mean, can you even imagine? People are asking me when I'm going to retire. Really? Retire? Are you kidding? I'm 30. I love what I do, and I have worked in retirement for 35 years. I've not had a boss for 35 years. Nobody calls me to see if I've worked. Like, I could stay in bed for 3 months, and no one calls me to see what I'm up to. I only get calls to say things like, oh, hey, you were this, you did this, congratulations, you did that. That's it. And that takes a lot of discipline, and it takes a lot of getting smacked down on the ground before you realize If you don't get back up and start doing what you said you were going to do, you will be working for someone else. Okay, well, I didn't want to work for someone else because you have to be at work at 8. I mean, does anybody have to be at work before 8? Yeah. I really love driving here this morning and seeing the sunset because I don't see the sunset in my library. I'm on the other side of the house and I'm reading, and I get so annoyed when I have to get up and stop reading to go do something important, but I have to. That is my job. Reading is not my job. So anyway, yes, I still fly out of bed every day to do what I do. When you get to live a life and build a career based on values and principles, it makes for a pretty sweet masterpiece. And why would I retire when I've worked in retirement since I stopped working, basically? So emotional mastery is my passion. I work with all women. I get the biggest kick out of men who say, how many women work for you? I'm like, you mean how many women do I work for? 200? Yeah, that's how many I work for. And they are all emotional. And so I have to stay calm because a lot of the stuff I do is with women who are in crisis, women who are needing to make money, women who are needing to feel better about themselves. And that's what I've done for a long, long time. So to put a cherry on the top of today, you're going to walk away with tools you can use to strengthen your emotional mastery. That is my hope for all women, that you see how valuable you are, just as you, that you don't need someone else to make you feel like you're special and important. You are enough all by yourself, and you are loved by so many other people. You can do anything you want to do. If you told me that you wanted to start doing brain surgery in 4 years, I know that you can do it. You can do anything you want to do if you want to do it badly enough and you're willing to pay the price. And that's what I want all women to walk away with that I ever encounter. Emotional mastery will always be your greatest asset as you move forward in your life as a leader, whether you're leading your family, your book club, or a Fortune 500 company. So what is it? You all know what it is. See, we didn't talk about emotional mastery when I started in the corporate world and started building my career. We didn't talk about emotional mastery. We talked about someone maybe had a mental breakdown or whatever that was, but emotional mastery is not about controlling life. I don't control life at all. It's about controlling yourself. When you lead your emotions, you lead your life with peace, purpose, and power. And no, it isn't easy, but it truly is simple. When your emotions serve you instead of leading you, you step into your highest calling with clarity, confidence, and calm. So how many of you could use a little more calm in your life? I know, it's just my hope for everybody, honestly, because it's such a great place to be. You have more knowledge and wisdom about leadership than anyone on the planet already because of what you're already doing. But without a high emotional quotient, your leadership impact will run on a circular plane, spinning, and never rising up. My experiences with elevated emotional management would send you away from there so depressed that you may not come out of it. Because the people who are really good at emotional mastery have practiced it. Like cheering my mom on for her courage to go on her first big cruise at the age of 56, only to lose her 10 days later to Legionnaire's disease from that cruise ship. Burying her on Valentine's Day, our shared favorite holiday because we love treats and we love love. I had the choice to crumble at the early stages of my business or continue building my business then in its infancy as I supported my dad in his loss of a 40-year fairy tale romance. That's one of the many. But we don't share those things with everybody, and I couldn't certainly share everything at one time because you'd be under the ground. Mary Kay taught me, she trained me, and she taught me, and people think this is mean when I tell my consultants, they're like, that's mean. They know it's true. You don't share your troubles with others because 80% don't care and the other 20% think you deserve what you got. And she would wink. I can't wink like she did, but she was a little short thing. But it's true. You share your troubles with your inner circle, and you show up strong every single day of your life with joy and happiness and a smile on your face, you know? Is it easy? No. Remember, I said it's not easy, but it's simple when you decide. So I'm here with a room of leaders, and may I say, welcome to the room of the brokenhearted. Welcome to the room of the brokenhearted. When you lead, you get your heart broken. I see many of you nodding. Is that true? But it's a room filled with women who, like me, choose to be strong and navigate the storms and the heartache, knowing that each time we rise a little higher, and we gain experience to help someone else through similar storms. Isn't that the best part? Is that you can listen, and you're listening saying, now, am I listening just to listen? Or am I listening so I can give you feedback? Well, I need some feedback. Okay, do you want it sugar-coated, or do you want the truth? I don't want it sugar-coated, I want the truth. And you can share how you overcame something that's similar. Nobody has the same things, but we all have storms. So after my mom's death, somehow I figured out how to rise every day, put my eyes on my vision board again. Do you love that? My vision board. Yep, we're big on vision boards. Think of the people who are counting on me, because I had consultants counting on me to be strong and watching me to see if I would fall apart. Continue carrying their dream. That's what we do as leaders. We carry the people following us. We carry their dreams for them. And we believe in them until they finally start believing in themselves. Because we don't believe in ourselves when we first start anything. So thankfully, we've got a leader who believes in us. And that's what we do. We believe in those people until they believe in themselves. So I will tell you, I was born with causeless joy, and I'm so grateful for that. That is the greatest gift God ever gave me. I wake up happy. I go to bed happy. I am causeless joy. I don't need a reason. I'm just excited and happy. Sometimes my friends, I'm a bit much for. But thankfully, I'm an introvert, so I'm not too much for too long, because I have to go back in and refill. Yeah. And back in the day, I mean, we didn't have a computer to research the things. We didn't have Instagram teaching us how to overcome trauma and how to get through grief. We had none of that. We just had whatever we thought that would lift us up and make us feel better. And for me, of course, I relied on the Bible. The emotional mastery I needed would not quickly be learned on social media, even if it had been available to me. Emotional mastery is a skill we learn by practicing it. And I was simply practicing directing my emotions, directing them myself, instead of having them run my life. Now, trust me, when I was married, my emotions ran deep because it was a storm of addiction, okay? So when you are in that, if anyone's ever been in that, you are just constantly reacting, hoping, reacting, hoping, reacting. And I got divorced because I hated who I became. So I probably would still be in it today because I'm a loyal person. Knowing every psychologist's recommendation on how to regulate myself as a leader will not make me a better leader. So I don't spend my time on those things. I reach out to someone who is where I want to be, and they teach me what I need to know. Because the minute we start looking something up, we lose time. We get distracted, and I'm super disciplined in my life, or I wouldn't be where I am today. But I can get caught in reels of babies and puppy dogs. And it's one time I did this, you guys, and you know, all the psychologists are saying, oh, these dopamine hits are going to catch you, and you're going to get sucked in, and you'll be in it for 3 hours. And I'm like, I am not going to do that. Are you kidding me? I got in there this one night, and I got onto some reels of babies and dogs. It was 1 o'clock in the morning. I'm like, that is the biggest waste of my beauty sleep that I have ever seen. I will never do that again. But it's very easy to get caught up in all of that. So I don't have, I'm not going to share anything about social media. But I am going to say that guard yourself from the things that steal your time and take you from the things that you value most. Like, I value people most. I value my family most. And so if I'm doing those things, that means, time spent on one thing is time away from another. So I do discipline myself and use what's valuable when it comes to social media for my business, but I barricade out the 95% of it that doesn't serve me. And a lot of that stuff isn't true, so don't try to get all your knowledge and wisdom from social media, right? The library has a lot of great books. So, okay, I want to talk about something that has been a theme about the day, which has been really great for me, because I want to talk about what's happening in business, in the world, in anyone who's running an organization. It's called trust recession. We are in a major trust recession right now. And when I tell you this, what I'm saying is that remember, I'm probably the oldest one in the room here, besides Jennings' mom, but besides that, none of you grew up in my era where Betty Crocker, if someone did Betty Crocker came in the neighborhood, we were all over it. Like, we're going for Betty Crocker for sure. You've got Goodyear tires. The name brands that you can trust. You go to Sears, you get the catalog, all of those things. Now, those are no longer even considered. Nothing is considered except for influencers. And people will buy from an influencer they trust before they will buy from a 100-year-old trusted brand. It's a trust recession. So, how do we lead when there's a trust recession? We've never had one before. We've had financial recessions, but we've never experienced a trust recession. This is all new. So, first of all, realize we're in it, and then learn how to bring certainty to the people you lead. Okay, certainty is going to be so critical for your children, for your family, for the people you work with. Certainty will be everything. They want to feel safe. When we as leaders don't create certainty and safety, then followers will not take action. They will join the other quitters of the world, and that's a big thing too. We don't need to talk about it. So in a world where fast-paced days, who creates those? We do. We create our own rabbit chasing, whatever we do, okay? We create that. In a world with responses like, I've got no time to get together, I'm overwhelmed, there are no margins in my life, I just have simply no margins. We need to be the ones to create time for people so we can listen to them, learn what they value, hear what their fears are, and in those minutes spent, you are creating a safe space. So as much as we have isolated, distanced, don't have time, we're not getting together, that's too much, whatever it is, that is going to be your magic pill for the next few years. Safe space for people to share, to learn to trust you so that you can lead them. Be their leader by speaking with conviction, and this will allow them to borrow your security. Do you sometimes, I have to pretend I know something. And they trust me so much that they trust that I'm saying the truth. And it's not like I'm lying. It's just that sometimes you have to say something just so they feel safe. And our company is going through huge changes. We never did anything if it wasn't around the kitchen table. Can you imagine the shift we had to make? Everyone else had already gone virtual. We didn't know what virtual was. So there's a lot of shifting going on. We're global. We're taking our products global. So a lot of things are being discontinued. There's a lot of discomfort. And I have to be the safe one that says, are you kidding? This is the greatest thing they've ever done. When in my mind I'm going, are you kidding that we're doing this? No, it's wonderful, isn't it? And so this is what we have to do, is we have to create a safe space. They will borrow our security if it's just for a moment, long enough for them to get their wits about them. Leading with certainty is critical. And I really have absolute certainty in our company of 62 years. I absolutely have total belief in security in their future, run by Mary Kay's grandson. I don't have any doubt whatsoever, but every change, every shift, everything that's discontinued causes a panic. And so, I have to be the strong one. The next way to add certainty, systems. How many of you have ever followed a leader who flies by the seat of their pants all the time and they're just whirling around and you're like, what, how, what? No systems, nothing. They don't have a welcome package. They have nothing for training. They go into their organizational meetings and they're like, what are you going to do today? There are people like that. There are. That's not going to work anymore. Okay, that is not going to work because systems bring safety. And everybody's going to have a different way of having systems, but maybe it's like, you have a coffee break room and everyone meets on Tuesday morning at 8:30 for a little debriefing or something, Keep it consistent. It has to keep happening the same way because the minute you slip up, there's that little chance for mistrust. Okay, let me get back to my notes. I'm getting off on a tangent. So systems bring security and a sense of calm. And this also strengthens our emotional mastery because if you're flying by the seat of your pants and something hits you in the face, how well are you going to handle that? You're not. So systems give you a sense of calm and a sense of belief that you are leading in the right way. And so, look at what you're doing right now, see if you need to ask the systems. Okay, so how did I get here? Why do I have a high emotional quotient, and how can you get here? I'm going to share 10 keys to emotional mastery, and I want you to write them down. So this is where you just take notes. And you can say, oh my gosh, Jill, put some meat potatoes in her drink. It's so good. And so I want you to take notes on this. Because we might be good at one, and we might be really good at 3 or 4, but here's the ones we need to work on, and they're all going to be different for everybody. And you know what? I think they shift in seasons of life. And so the first one about emotional management or emotional mastery is really deciding you're going to do it, deciding and committing to it, deciding you're going to stop having a meltdown and stop crying every time something goes wrong. And I'm sure that nobody in here does that. I'm speaking to someone else, but decide. I wanted to be the steady, strong, calm person that everyone could count on. Number 2, I learned early on that people are more important than the plan. People are more important than the plan. This is a challenging one. Okay, what we do in our organization, it doesn't matter if anything falls through the cracks, honestly, it's just makeup, for God's sake, really. And so people are more important than the plan. It's easy for me to drop everything I'm doing if someone needs me. Now, you may be in a place where you can't do that. You can't drop everything because somebody has an issue. But I do think there's an opportunity to say, or so. But right now, the whole building has just collapsed. And I know you have this, but give me 20 minutes and I'll make it. We always have the chance to do that. And P&L and Mary Kay always meant people in love, not profit and loss. And when you put people first, or when you want to put people first, you must have emotional mastery. You just must. Number 3, learn to have a calm presence. Learn to have a calm presence. Even with your children. I know they would wonder what happened, where their grandma went, but learn to have a calm presence. You naturally create a sense of calm in a room, even when others feel stressed or overwhelmed. That steadiness reassures people and models emotional regulation. I have to focus on that when I go somewhere especially because of my high sensory perception, all of the overwhelm of walking into a room. I have to stand outside and breathe and put a smile on my face and know that if I want, I can leave in 30 minutes. I've already played the movie forward on exactly how this is going to play out, and then walk in calm. Is such a great skill to have, and it just takes a bit of time. That's all of these just take a bit of time and practice. Emotional mastery, number four. It requires that we become focused listeners. We are not waiting for our turn to talk. We are hearing what they say and engaging with them about their words. I like to say to myself, I have to say this a lot, because I have a lot to say. I just want to talk, like I want my turn. Are you done? Can I talk? I say wait in my head. They're talking, I'm listening, but I've got this one thing, it's just gonna take a second. Wait, why am I talking? Why am I talking? Tell me more about that. I mean, gosh, that has to be so hard. What else? It makes such a difference when you listen just to listen. And you know, you're going to have those situations where you say, okay, oh, I really need to talk to you. I just need to talk to you. I need to talk to you. Well, what's going on? First of all, do you want me just to listen, or are you just going to vent? Or do you want me to weigh in and kind of help you solve something? Well, I need you to weigh in. I need this whole thing solved right now. Okay, I'm on it. So, you know, you're still listening, gathering all the information, and then, may I speak now? Because I got some thoughts. So be a really focused listener. When you get interested in others, you become more interesting. And this is all a part of this. This is one of my very favorite things. Getting interested in others. I wish that I could have a conversation with every single one of you. I tell you, the ones that I had a conversation with today, I do not forget that Tosh has a 6-year-old son. I don't forget when people share something important with me. Gina shared with me today, we're going to get together and have coffee. So I listen, but I also ask a lot of questions. When you get interested in others, you become more interesting. You can't believe what people tell you. Be careful what you ask, because they will tell you everything. I'm not kidding. I mean, it's like, oh, I don't know that I want it. So, wow, that's really interesting. But people aren't being heard. They want to be heard. They want someone to ask them questions. So my favorite thing when I meet someone is, tell me a little bit about yourself. Well, what do you want to know? Well, what do you want to tell me? And then it goes on from there. But truly, if you want to become more interesting, get interested in others. And just a fun story. I met somebody, I don't know, at an event sometime, and I knew their whole life. Like, I knew their whole family and their grandkids and every single thing about them. And I ran into them at Costco like 5 days later. I'm like, oh my goodness, we met at the event, blah, blah, blah. And I'm like, so whatever happened with your son in his football game? And she's like, oh yeah. She goes, now, are you a realtor? Because see, you're talking so much that they don't ask you anything about yourself. So she thought I was a realtor this whole time. And I said, oh no, a lot of people ask me that actually. They do. So yeah, I love to meet people. Number 5, become self-aware. Get highly attuned to your own emotions and environments. That sensitivity lets you notice shifts in your energy and mood quickly, which is the foundation of emotional management. And so become self-aware. One thing that I know about myself, I have to carry food in my car, because I get sidetracked. And then I'm mean. Like 3 hours later, I'm mean. And I'm like, I'm feeling mean inside. What has happened to me? I'm feeling mean. I can't even be nice. I don't think I should talk to anybody. It's because I'm hungry. And so if you get in my car, seriously, it's little jars of nuts, mixed nuts, and then I've got the protein bars and always healthy things. But I do have cinnamon bears in the glove box because that's kind of my go-to when I'm stressed. And so become self-aware and know what you need to make you your best self at all times. Just in case. Just in case. Number 6, empathy and perspective taking. You can step into someone else's shoes or you wouldn't be where you are. Adjust your communication to meet people where they are. Once you have done the feel of empathy and felt what they're going through, then you might have to flex what the conversation was going to be. If you find that they're going through something really difficult, it's like, oh gosh, I can't drop that bomb right now. But empathy is also, you also need compassion. So empathy and compassion, strengthen that. And step into people's shoes and try to feel what they're feeling. It'll change your life. Number 7, an intentional response versus a reaction. Shelley talked a lot about this in her talk. We have to respond and not react. Pause before responding, choosing words and tone carefully so you don't get swept away by heightened emotions. And so one thing that I learned, and actually I learned it the hard way because I was at a conference. It was my very first conference with Mary Kay. I had this gal that I started hanging out with because I didn't know anybody, and she was really quiet and soft and introverted like I was, and we just were the greatest roommates. And we're walking down the hall to class one day, and we're walking, and I'm in a rush, and I'm kind of I'm just working at the mall, and I'm in my mall mode, running through the mall, crazy, frantic, and she goes, hey, Shelley, she goes, can I share something with you that would probably be really helpful if you want to build this business? I'm like, well, of course, that's why I'm here. Yeah, share. And she goes, you're super intimidating. That's what you wanted to share. Do you have an answer for me? And she goes, yeah. She goes, what I learned in a class was that you put a Mona Lisa smile on your face, and that makes you less intimidating. And so just kind of, turn up the corners of your lips and just smile all the time. And just walk around with a Mona Lisa smile on. And people are, they think you're nice. Because when you walk like that, you kind of look mean. She's still my friend. Yeah. And I appreciate it. I truly have had a Mona Lisa smile on my face since the day she said that to me. Maybe not on its own, but for the most part. Okay. Number 8, encouraging growth in others. You don't just manage your own emotions, you help others regulate theirs by offering tools, language, and encouragement in a non-judgmental way. We have to pass this on. We want to raise up strong women, whether they lead or not. We want our daughters to be strong. We want our granddaughters to be strong. And so pass on what you learn and encourage others to grow and cheer women on. It really shows emotional mastery when someone that you've always competed with and always been number one, when she becomes number one, you cheer her on, and it's genuine. You're excited for her. Cheer other people on when they win, and that's a huge part of emotional mastery. And in our business, everything's about winning the crown, And so I don't care about winning the crown, but I want to cheer for every single person who wins the crown. Number 9, consistency under pressure. Are you the same under pressure as you are when there's no pressure? Can people still count on you when everything is spinning? And I think about with the utmost compassion, all the brick and mortars that had to deal with a shutdown. And all of that, I didn't deal with that, but the worst part of what we went through 5 years ago showed up a year ago. It really did, because it became the new normal. And people settled in, and they started, I think, not so much being complacent, but just settling. And there is no settling when you're a leader. We don't settle for less. We are always striving and reaching and growing. There is no settling. I'm just going to settle for that. That's good enough. There is no good enough. There is no mediocrity. When you're a leader, you reach up and you are always reaching for the stars. So that was 9. Number 10, boundaries. Boundaries. Oh my gosh, you guys, I was the worst people pleaser ever. Because then you would like me. I had to make sure I did everything for everybody exactly how they wanted me to do it, because then everybody would like me. Do you know, when I started setting boundaries, what I learned about boundaries a few years ago, and it's probably done 18 years ago, but one of my consultants said to me, "What happened to you?" And I'm like, "Nothing." Why? She's like, "You're not as nice as you used to be." I said, "Well, good. Good. That's how I want to be. I don't want to be nice anymore, you know." So they still love you when you set boundaries. Protecting our energy is not selfish. It is stewardship. Say no to things that aren't important so you can say yes to the things you value the most. I know that, especially for you young women, I know that life is glorious and wonderful and nobody ever leaves and everybody's always there, and that is not true. Okay, I hate to tell you that, it's not. And so spend your time with the people who matter. Choose what you do based on who you love the most, what you value most. That's where you spend your time, because it is yours. And it goes so fast. And your life goes at the speed of your age. So when you're 40, it goes 40 miles an hour. 50, it goes 50 miles an hour. When you're 60, it goes 60 miles an hour. And it really, truly does. Like a year goes by in 5 minutes. And so choose wisely. Hey, now you wrote those down, 1 through 10, just for your own self. I want you to rate yourself on how well you think you do in all 10 of those areas. On a scale of 1 to 5, being 1, I need some work. 5 being, I got this. Yes.
Good about it. Do I have this? That's right. Hello. Yeah.
Does this give you some food for thought on some areas that you want to work on? Yes. I'm going to share my greatest tool for emotional mastery. And if you're an athlete, you might already know all about this. It's called controlling the controllables. So I've never been an athlete. I was raised with 3 of them. And they would have these little routines that they did faithfully when they were going to pitch the ball, or they were going to bat. You know, they had to put the bat on the ground like 3 times, tap, tap, tap. It was the same every single time, because it helped them to regain focus. And so controlling the controllables is nailing down everything in your life that you can control so that you can effectively address anything that hits you in the face as the day progresses. For instance, Monday through Friday, I have 5 different meals that I alter between lunch and dinner. I don't care what the food is. It has to be in my food program. It has to be healthy. It has to be anti-inflammatory. All of those things, Monday through Friday, I just shift them around. People, and if you have kids, do you think they care about what you're going to feed them if they're starving? They're going to eat it. So you pick those meals. I know what I'm eating every single morning for breakfast. I know what I'm eating for lunch. In the course of the week, I've got that nailed down. I knew what I was wearing today. It was laid out last night. I had my makeup laid out because I don't like makeup. It has to be organized in a row. It's so much and confusing, okay? So I have it all laid out on my vanity. Put on your eyeliner, put some mascara on, get your powder on, etc. So all of those things, control the controllables. Because decision making wears out. You get decision fatigue by noon. Do you know that? By noon every day, you have decision fatigue. But we're getting up and going, what do I have for breakfast? Oh, I wonder what time I should. Oh, I wonder. You wonder your way to noon, and then you're like, heck with it. I'm going to McDonald's. Now, I don't even know how to go through a drive-thru because it totally stresses me out. People honk at me. I can't make my decision. There's nothing healthy on the menu. So I can't do it. I just can't. It stresses me out. And so that's why I carry food in my car. I can't go through a drive-thru, to be honest. But you nail those things down. What are you going to eat? What time are you leaving for work? What do you need in your car? Is it going to be snowing? Put some snow boots in the back. Get everything laid out. Does this sound military? No. People call me the general, so I do have some systems and I do have some things in place. So controlling the controllables. If you were trying to do something that requires discipline, like maybe you want to be on a food program, I promise you, if you don't have that figured out, I've been doing this food program for 35 years. If you don't have it decided in advance and laid out, oh my gosh, my friend called and I get to go to Vanilla Beef for lunch. I'm going to get a cookie and a brownie and this, and I'm going to get a sandwich, and it's going to be all wrong because you don't care, because you're exhausted, because you made too many decisions for the morning. So learn to control the controllables with your children, with your husband, with all of the people that you're working with. I mean, seriously, it changed my life. I'm like, oh my gosh, because people go, I didn't know about this, and I didn't know what to do, and I got so stressed out. I'm like, oh, I had that like planned last week. Like, why are you planning Thanksgiving today? It's tomorrow. You're wrapping gifts tonight. Christmas comes the 25th every year. Why don't you start in July? You know, as soon as you think about it. And so controlling the controllables is one of my favorite things. And the other thing about emotional mastery that I'm really good at is playing the movie forward. I like to play, and I have a wild imagination, I like to play the movie forward on everything where I have to decide something. And I run it down this road, all the way down as far as I can go, and I make stuff up. And then I run it down this road, and I run it down this road. And I go to the place where I'm going to land at the Wizard of Oz. Like, I am not going to train wreck this one. And I'm going to take the best path. Play the movie forward, and especially in big decisions in your life. Play it out as to where you're going to end up. And the people you know that you admire, who just seem to land in the greatest place ever, do you think it might be because they played the movie forward and made a really smart decision? I like emotions-based decisions, actually, where I can have regret for the rest of my life. No, but that's what happens when you make an emotions-based decision. Oh, this feels good for the moment. I love this. This feels so, I'm so in love with you. Oh my gosh, we should get married. And then the next day, he's a whole different person, right? You can't make emotions-based decisions and end up without regret. It just doesn't happen. Okay. Let me skip through this. Stewarding your energy. I just saw that in big bold print. Stewarding your energy. We talked about that. You deserve to steward your energy. You deserve downtime. You work hard. You guys run on a hamster wheel of life unlike anybody I've ever seen as I look at teachers. What you guys do for our world, I have been lobbying to get your pay swapped with the entertainers of the world, the musicians. Give that to the teachers, give the musicians and the entertainers the teachers' money. That's what I'm lobbying for, because you guys work hard and you're raising up the next generation. So treat yourself well. Steward your energy. Okay. So I don't have much time left, so I'm gonna shift gears a little bit and share something that I'm really good at that I've started sharing lately, and it's because a friend handed me a book 10 years ago and said, "You should read this book. I think it's you." Really? How would you guys like that? Here's a book, I think it's you. It's a psychologist book. He's written a book. Okay. And I look at the cover and it says HSP, highly sensitive people. I handed it back and I said, "When's the last time you saw me cry?" "I am not highly sensitive." "Are you kidding me?" She goes, "You don't get it. You're not understanding. Read the book and then tell me it's not you." Well, it is me. And they now have put it under the neurodivergent umbrella. And so HSP is right along with all of the other neurodivergent traits. And so I've been studying it for 10 years, and I am mentoring young people who have HSP and think that the only answer is anti-anxiety medication. And that isn't the only answer, because I've never been medicated. And so I'm going to share just a little bit about that, and thank you for letting me share. Once I read the book, you're not everything. You know, it's just like any of the neurodivergencies. You might have 10 of the qualities of that specific trait, but what I do know, as it is the fastest growing, most studied of all the neurodivergences. So people are studying it, therapists are studying it, people are working on it. And I'm really excited about that, because I would not have been able to go to a medical facility and have anybody treat me or anything. But I was hospitalized a lot when I was a little kid because my peristaltic activity would stop. And that's where your food gets digested. And so, but it was always, "Well, there's nothing wrong with her. We don't know what's wrong with her. I don't know why this is happening. Take her home," or I'd stay in the hospital for a week or whatever it was. So that was always the answer for me. But anyway, I did read the book and learned a lot. And years later, while sitting beside my dad as he was dying, he looked at me and he said, "You're not the same as the girl you were. I don't know how you became this version of yourself." And we talked about that for about 5 days, and it made me really think, what was I? Who was I? Because I'd been this for a long time. And as I look back over my 64 years, honestly, it's so fitting for me now. But the blessing in my life was that I had the people to support me every step of the way. So I was raised with there were four children, 3 high-level athletes, all state, all-around athletes. Guess who was not the athlete? I tried. I wanted to be an athlete, like my siblings. I wanted to, but I couldn't stand the noise in the gym. You can't play basketball like this. You've got to have your hands available. And you can't, I was in gymnasiums all the time, and it was so upsetting. But my dad raised me, and my mom raised the other 3 in the same home. And so that was, I really feel so fortunate to have had that experience. But as an HSP, what happens is that, does anybody have an HSP daughter, son? Anybody in your family that's HSP? Okay, all right. So it's an overwhelming, you're overwhelmed by all your senses, basically. Your senses are on heightened awareness. So I still hear at 130%. And I see a lot of things, and sometimes a lot of busyness is just too much visually. The other thing about HSPs is we are so emotionally moved by art, by photography, by taking or watching the caterpillars walk across the sidewalk, by the most beautiful sunset. And I know that other people feel that way, but we have it on a much deeper level. There's a lot of information about it. There's a crime show, a 60-minute documentary now called Sensitive. Alanis Morissette is featured in that because she's HSP. And so it's really good to know who you are. So I'm going to share just a little bit more about that. Okay, the HSP is a trait, so it's a trait. Just like having blue or brown eyes. You cannot change it, you can't fix it, and you can't medicate it. Little did I know 40 years ago when I joined Mary Kay that it would be the perfect place to land because HSPs love to work from home. We can control our environment. You all have an HSP in your life, you just don't know it, and you don't know that they have the trait, but you know this person is different, or they cry easily, or they're just a little bit different. You know, they're just more sensitive. And there are equal numbers of boys who are HSP as there are girls. And 20%, some psychologists are stating that 30% of all people are HSP and to some degree. Loud noises, crowds of people, too much lighting or flashing lights, constant busyness. This does not fare well for an HSP. I live next door to the Capitol High vice principal who was there for 47 years, and we talk over the fence a lot about all the kids who have these exceptions where they can't do PE and they have social anxiety and all of those things. And I do believe that a lot of that social anxiety is not really social anxiety, it's an HSP. And so the reason I want to share it is if you have someone or you think you know someone, it is not a problem. It's a superpower. And as I've studied it for the last 10 years, what's really amazing is having the ability to see and hear and feel more than other people allows you to be an incredible leader. You want this person leading your organization. You want them even managing in your organization, because we can balance a million things at one time because we can see so broadly. My first curiosity about being different for me was when I had to go to a special school. Okay, Sandy didn't go to that school. Why am I going to that school, Mom? Well, honey, you're more artistic and creative, so we want you to have this special training. I didn't just start in kindergarten. I started in a special school. Sherry and Jim didn't go to the special school. Honey, they're not as creative and artistic as you were. And so, thankfully, I was honored for my sensitivity. 4 children, 1 highly sensitive person, and 3 all-state, all-around athletes, and 1 dancer. So if you have someone in your family that's HSP and you have been raised as an athlete and you want everybody athletic in your family, you might let them consider something different where it isn't so loud and noisy and crowded with all kinds of people. I did try to be an athlete because I wanted to be like my siblings, but that didn't quite work out. So my favorite place when I was young was behind my bed. So if you have a child or a grandchild that hangs out in their room behind their bed, it was quiet, it was safe, and I always had a blanket. I still always have a blanket on me, always, 12 months out of the year. I did love people and I loved having new friends, but I did not have a lot of friends because I wasn't the same. It's okay, I had some very best friends. I never enjoyed big crowds of people, not noisy parties of any kind. And so I just want to share this in case you have somebody like this in your life. I will be starting, I've been mentoring people who are HSP to keep them on medication, to keep them from anesthetizing with drugs and alcohol. But I am going to start a ministry, and I'm going to start training people in groups on how to manage themselves as an HSP and how to see it as a superpower instead of it being something that isn't necessarily good. So as I became an adult, I really truly thought everyone was like me, able to remember every little detail. Can anybody in here remember every day of your life from age 3 on? Because you would definitely be an HSP. If that's days, I just thought everybody did. See details that are often missed, hear conversations in the entire restaurant all at once. I have to sit in the middle of a restaurant because I hear everybody's conversation. So HSP is a superpower, and I'm excited to be starting this because Kylie said, you've got to do something with this. And I said, it's a really great idea. I think I will. So having caused this joy, that gave me a love for people because I watched them have joy. And even though I wasn't connected to a lot of people, as I grew up, I had my best friends, but I loved standing back and observing joy. I spent my life finding a balance where I could keep my causeless joy and my love for people and not be overstimulated. So, over my 64 years, people have been placed in my life to support my gifting. People were also placed in my life to test whether or not I had in fact learned the lessons that we get in life. If you don't learn the lesson the first time, do you agree you keep getting it until you get the lesson? Yeah. So I've had those situations too. And so that's what I wanted to share about that. Don't be frustrated if you have an HSP. Just learn to understand their sensitivity. And in closing, emotions are powerful. They can fuel us forward or drain us dry, but the difference comes down to how we manage them. A leader with emotional mastery inspires trust, steadies the storm, and empowers growth in themselves and others. Thank you for letting me share with you today.